Jai Shivai. Today we are going to talk about consciousness. A lot of people are actually waiting for this video, that what exactly is consciousness. So the word for consciousness is Chetna in Hindi, in Sanskrit. We call it Chetna. And then who is conscious? That conscious one is called as Atma or soul, you can say, rough translation. Now again, Chetna is, consciousness is not the 100% translation of uh, the word, the term Chetna. It's not. So in order to understand it, you have to understand a lot of things about it, that or the way consciousness is connected to the one who is conscious. Okay, so in other words, we can say who is Chetan means who is conscious, and Atma is conscious. And who else is conscious? The God, the divine being, the supreme being, the Paramatma or the Brahma is conscious. Only two have the capability to be conscious. Okay, a rock cannot be conscious until unless there is an Atma inside the rock, which is not the case. So a rock is not conscious. Plants are conscious because plants have Atma in it. And, soil is not conscious by itself. Water is not conscious by itself. So anything made up of these five elements is not conscious by itself. So that which is not conscious is called as Jada. So this entire creation is called as Jada or not conscious. Here we cannot use the word unconscious, because the word unconscious implies that there was consciousness but now it's not there. Okay, that's what it implies, the word unconscious. But when we say not conscious, then we are saying it never was conscious, it is not conscious, it never will be conscious ever. Okay, so this entire creation, Prakriti, is nothing but Jada or not conscious. Then who is conscious? We are. We as human beings are. Animals are conscious. Wherever there is a soul, there is a consciousness. Now that consciousness, one of the aspect or quality of that consciousness, that Chetna, is awareness. Mind it, it's one of the quality. You cannot say that consciousness and awareness are synonymous. No, they are not. Or that the only function that a consciousness or the Chaitanya has is nothing but being aware of this, aware of that. No. Paramatma has no need to be aware of this or that. Consciousness is all inclusive. Chaitanya is all inclusive. Okay? So when an Atma has this Chaitanya, then that Atma is called as, okay, we can call it, it's one of the aspect of staying alive, being alive. And now here, being alive, I'm not talking about being in the body. Even as a disembodied being, you are alive because you are Atma and because Atma has consciousness. It is one of the properties or qualities or characteristic of an Atma. Now you may say, it helps us do what? Well, it helps us do everything, know everything. The first thing that you become conscious of as an Atma, and when an Atma or the soul does not have the physical body, even then 18 elements are there in your subtle body. And Atma is aware of the subtle body, becomes aware of the subtle body that it has. Atma becomes aware of their own karmic structure because it is there. The karmic imprints that are there. The whatever is psychological patterns, hardened patterns or sanskaras or chitvrittis one has, and Atma becomes aware of that. Atma is always aware of that. Then comes to the gross body, that you become aware of the mind that you have where thoughts are traveling. Okay, becomes aware of that. And then it becomes aware of, the physical body that you have, that this is my hand, this is my body and everything. But when you sleep, can we say you became not conscious when you are sleeping? Because while sleeping, your awareness is not there into the body. Means it's not, it doesn't mean you lost the consciousness. No. It's just that consciousness is not flowing towards the body. Consciousness is flowing towards the subtle body, towards Anandamaya Kosha. If you are in the deep sleep, then your consciousness is aware of, or you can say consciousness is perceiving what? The bliss body or Anandamaya Kosha. Okay. So at different times, consciousness applies itself. You as an Atma directs itself, its consciousness towards something external or something internal. You may apply it through your mind to read something, through your mind to become aware of what is going on in your thoughts, through your mind towards taking some action or doing tapasya, doing your spiritual practices. You may apply your consciousness anywhere and everywhere, right? And that is how a Chetan functions. When you go on creating this, creating that, and living the life in the world, right? Through your body. Now, where is the exact seat of this consciousness in you? Obviously, if it is the property of Atma, then where is the consciousness in you? Place where an Atma is situated. Okay, and it depends from your spiritual evolution, level of your spiritual evolution, that where your Atma is, what are you perceiving exactly, how much are you perceiving your own existence. And that is where, because it's a property of an Atma, characteristic of an Atma. If the Atma leaves the body, consciousness leaves too with it. So without Atma, a body, physical body, cannot be conscious. Any body, not just human body, it could be plant body or it could be an animal body, whichever body it is, it can't be conscious. Okay, so where the Atma is. Now, if you study all 72,000 nadis and chakras, 114 chakras in your Pranayama Kosha, in your etheric body, if you study all that, then you will understand that the power of consciousness to expand lies into the Ida Nadi. Ida Nadi is on the left hand side of our physical body and etheric body. It's on the left hand side. So on the left hand side, Ida Nadi goes this, and it actually connects to your, empowers your right side of your brain, or you can say it empowers your creative thinking. It empowers all kinds of, it makes you get into all kinds of ideas, creativity, art, this, that, and things which are connected to Vijnanamay Kosh. Okay, the intuition body, some people call it, but it's actually a kosha, a sheath for a special kind of wisdom from beyond, you can say. So it connects to that, consciousness connects to that. Now, the vehicle for consciousness to expand is it needs to travel on something, right? It needs something. So it requires a very, very high vibrating pranic Shakti, very highly vibrating pranic Shakti. And that pranic Shakti, that prana, is connected to your breath, right? That's why we do pranayams and everything. Why do we do pranayams? To keep our pranic energy highly vibrating. But then what to do with it? If you are not expanding your consciousness about yourself, sooner or later, too much higher pranic energy will start going to the places in body where you have something to understand. Some blocks are there. You may get a headache, or your head may feel like it's vibrating. You may get migraines, some body pains here and there. So higher pranic energy does that until unless in equal proportion you expand your consciousness as well. How do you expand consciousness? Well, when your pranic Shakti is vibrating at a really high speed, then you have the ability to meditate, to go deep within you, to be able to see what chitta vrittis or psychological patterns are arising in me, what kind of, you know, sanskaras are playing out from within me, what is going on inside me. Most of the time, sometime people do lot of spiritual practices, and then they do all kinds of pranayams, this sadhana, that sadhana, but then they think nothing is happening within them. It's a complete silence. No, it's not. Or they may think that as if I am empty. I'm talking about initial stages of spiritual journey, not about those who have attained samadhi, lower levels of samadhi. I'm not talking about them, but to the people, those who have not attained even lower 4 levels of samadhis, about them I'm talking, that they may think that nothing is going on, it's all silence, it's all good, and I am, I do not have anything else to resolve or to look into, and I do not have any ignorance within, and there is nothing else to do. What should I do? I'm just waiting for God to give me moksha, God to give me enlightenment, and this and that. No, it just means you are not conscious enough. And when we say conscious enough, does not mean we are talking about the quantity of consciousness. No, there's no quantity of consciousness. It's just the level of consciousness, quality of consciousness. If the quality of your consciousness is very, very, very deep, it can penetrate so deep within you that it can get access to your own chitta, that warehouse where all your karmic patterns and storage of warehouse for all kinds of psychological patterns and chitta vrittis is. So if the quality of consciousness is really high, really very good, then it has the ability to penetrate within yourself. Why am I doing this? Why can't I just let go? That should come from within, that I need to let go of this. I do not understand this. I need to understand this. This is the ignorance in me, and I need to grasp this wisdom or that wisdom, something. But if the quality of that consciousness is low or poor, you can say, low quality consciousness is there because your pranic Shakti is not vibrating that higher, and you are not making any efforts to expand your consciousness by grasping the wisdom of life. Okay, if that is not happening, then at max you may become conscious of, I am hungry, or that I need to rest, or I'm sleepy, I'm tired. Just bodily level functions. you will become conscious of. That too, when you may be hungry for an hour or 2 hours, then you may think about eating and all that. You may be tired for so long, but it may not occur to you, it may not happen to you instantly, right when the hunger arises in you, right when the thirst arises in you, right when the sleepiness or tiredness arises within you. No, it has to become so loud and clear for you because your consciousness is of low quality. Okay, your consciousness is of low quality, and then when the quality improves, so you become aware of your physical body functions. When the quality is little bit improved, you know, then you start becoming aware of your own energy body first. You will start visiting this place, that place, and you will realize how the energy was, for this color of clothes or that color of clothes, how the energy was for this kind of a temple or that temple, how the energy was when I met with this person, that person. So, energy body. Then the quality, you may improve the quality of your consciousness a little bit more. Then you will start paying attention to your thought. Why am I thinking like that? But still, it may not happen like a thought happened and you caught it. No. You may be thinking some thoughts, or you may be in some kind of an emotional stuff, it's emotional turmoil or emotional stuff which is going on and on and on and on in you for maybe couple of days, or maybe few days, a week, or 15 days, or a month. Then you may realize, why am I thinking like that? Right? And then when the quality improves a little more, then the timeline to catch yourself starts reducing. Catch your own thoughts, catch your own emotions, starts reducing. It becomes so improved. If you keep doing your spiritual practices, your level of consciousness will improve so much that before even a thought arises in you, you will know that this thought is about to arise before it happens to you. In other words, you will have this entire access of your own Chitta. You will have that. And then you will be able to catch yourself before even anything happens. So you see how important it is to improve the level of Chetna that you are. How important it is to improve the level of consciousness that you are. Improve the quality of that consciousness. And there is no other way to increase the quality of consciousness unless you educate yourself. There are so many ways to educate yourself, right? You can educate yourself by reading something, reading scriptures or something like that, or you can watch some videos, or you can read the scriptures, or you can, something external. Wisdom can come from something outside of you, and wisdom can also come from within. But is wisdom coming from within is also the function of consciousness, of Chetna. Your Chetna needs to start perceiving the Vijnanamaya Kosh, that body which gives you the wisdom from beyond. Your Chetna needs to start perceiving that body first. And then wisdom starts to happen from within. That this is right, this is wrong, this is truth, this is not truth, this is partial truth, this is complete truth, this is illusion, that is not illusion, and so on and so forth. About life, about creation, about life, about yourself, about karma, about God, about this, about that, anything and everything. Wisdom starts happening from within, because the quality of the consciousness, the Chetna, has improved so much that now it can penetrate and perceive at any point of time. It can perceive that intuition body. that Vigyanmay Kosh, that wisdom body that you carry. And slowly when you start into deep meditation starts happening, and then you start perceiving, then you, through your consciousness, you start perceiving the Anandamay Kosh, the bliss body. So bliss starts, you get into bliss and that Ananda so many times, even during the day, anytime. You do not have to be into deep sleep to perceive that Ananda from the Anandamay Kosh. It is there always. So the better the quality of consciousness, Chetna, that you are, that's what the kind of human being you will be, right? When we say somebody is not being conscious, or that somebody is unconscious, it's not that they may be physically unconscious. People are mentally unconscious too, right? When you are being driven by your, suppose, fear, the sanskara or the chittavritti of fear is coming out from within you. And suddenly you are fearful of, what if I lose my money? What if I lose my job? What if I lose this? And you are constantly being driven by that. All the thoughts that are happening in your head are of fear. And they are multiplying at good speed. So initially it could be just one fearful thought. It multiplied, it became so enormous that you might be having a panic attack or an anxiety attack because of that. Or if it happens again and again, over a long period of time, it may convert into, what do they call that? Paranoia. You may become paranoid, right? Because you are being fear driven. You're not conscious. You're just behaving, thinking, being. You are just being the fear yourself. You're carrying so much fear within. Same thing with anger. Same thing with attachment. When you are throwing your attachment and behaving and thinking out of your attachment, you're not conscious. You're not seeing the reality the way it is around you. Your capacity, your capability to be conscious about the reality around you depends upon the quality of consciousness that you are. Your ability to live life, be useful, have a purposeful, meaningful, fulfilled kind of a life depends upon the quality of consciousness that you are. Your ability to hold relationships in life with conscious people, not with people, those who are driven by their sanskaras and vrittis all the time. No. To maintain good relationships, and the way you are not able to see the other person. So many people are so madly in attachment with the other person that they go on saying, I love you this much, that much, or I will always love you. In other words, they are saying, I'll always practice my raga. But the moment you start looking towards the other person, suddenly they are in pain. Suddenly all that love is now gone. Instead, an emotional turmoil has taken place. Why? Even that love to start with was happening from the state of being unconscious. Just the raga driven, attachment driven behavior. So ultimately, who says love results into turmoil? Love is not turmoil in itself. True love is not turmoil. But it becomes a turmoil for so many people. People are ready to commit suicide, right? Out of love. It's just such foolishness because it's not love to start with. When you try to bind the other person into your boundary, you are mine, nobody should you spend time with other than me, nobody, you should not, you belong to me, those kind of things, those kind of sentences. So all that behavior is raga driven behavior, is unconscious. Same thing for grudges. People keep grudges for 15-20 years in their existence, they carry it. So again, unconscious behavior. So two things can happen. Either you are in the state of patterns of fear, of attachments, of aversions, of identities, and spiritual ignorance. Either that could be your state or you could be conscious. What happens in enlightenment? An Atma becomes its consciousness becomes so pure that there is nothing, no spiritual ignorance at all. And there is nothing outside or external anywhere in this universe, in this cosmos, that an Atma needs to be aware of or conscious of. There's nothing like Atma itself becomes the pure, that consciousness becomes so pure that it becomes aware of first time. The first time it becomes aware of itself. And that's why enlightenment is also called as Atma Bodh or Atma Sakshatkar, direct one-on-one with yourself. So see how much powerful the consciousness should be, that it is able to retract itself from anything and everything from outside. Even internal world becomes an outside for an Atma, right? Even your mental, emotional body, your energy body, this body, that body, whatever is within right now, you call within, even that becomes without for an Atma. It is without for an Atma. So that Atma, in the enlightenment process, in the self-realization process, actually becomes aware of itself. And when consciousness becomes so pure, it also becomes conscious of all the Shaktis that are there. And ultimately, the Supreme Being, the Brahman, the Paramatma that is there. So you see, consciousness has to be purified. Not just, it doesn't need to just travel here and there and become aware of this thing or that thing, or you become conscious of this thing or that thing. Even within yourself, you become aware of your thought, your energy, my this and that. No. It's not a big deal to become aware of within. Initially, it may be, for while walking your spiritual journey, for beginners, we can say that, okay, it's a big deal that you became aware of your thought or your energy body, but after a while, it's not. It needs to be purified. And the only thing that purifies the consciousness is nothing but wisdom, Gyan. And not the Gyan about or wisdom about how many how many galaxies are there, how many solar systems are there, or which Shakti exists, where it exists, and this and that. No. It's the wisdom about yourself. Everything about you, everything about being an Atma, everything about being human. It may start with that, but then ultimately it goes to the level of everything about being an Atma, and then everything about Paramatma. Okay, so work hard, intellect, your intellect helps you purify the consciousness that you are. That's what the purpose of intellect and the power of discernment is, to help you purify the consciousness that you are. Why? If your wisdom right now says, oh, eating chocolate is the best thing, it helps me keep young, stay young, or anything like that, then you are going to behave and live accordingly. If the wisdom of life is wrong in you, if you do not have understanding of karma, understanding of universal laws, understanding of suffering in so many ways, not just the physical suffering, mental suffering, and suffering as a disembodied being, right? If you do not have a full understanding of anything and everything, then you are going to make mistakes, live life like that. So, at a very gross level, at a very physical level, your job should be to purify your buddhi, your intellect, only through the pure wisdom. Pure wisdom can only be held in the pure intellect. If you are all about fears, attachments, greed, this and that, you're not going to have any kind of pure wisdom in your intellect. You cannot hold it. And then the quality of consciousness that you are is going to be very, very poor. Then again, as I said, all you may feel is the desire to physical or bodily needs kind of things. That is all that your perception will be, or your mental needs, or your identity kind of needs, that I want to achieve this, I want to become this, I want to become that. And you know, how can somebody say something like that? Because I am this and I am that. So the connection or the improvement of consciousness or the Chetna happens through breathing right, doing your spiritual practices related to pranayams, okay, and through purified intellect. Okay. Namaste. Jai Shiva.